Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey, and welcome to Believe in the Journey podcast, where I'm your host, Triveda Harris. I want to thank you for joining us tonight. My bestie in the house, and you never know where the conversation is going to go between us. But before we do anything, we're going to go to God in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together as we do each and every time we're in front of you. We don't know where this conversation is going to go tonight, but let it be comforting to the ears that are tuning in. Let the words of our mouths find the ears that need to hear. Let you guide the conversation the way that it needs to go. We honor you. Thank you for each and everything that you do, the direction and connections that you make each and every time we are in front of you. We reach someone different every time we're in front of you. So allow us to continue to be the connection to you. We know that we are only vessels and we are only here for a short amount of time, but what we do in this time connects us to you each and every day. So we thank you and we honor you, and let the words of our mouths comfort the ears that need to hear tonight. In your precious and holy name, Jesus, I pray. Amen. All right, as I told you guys, my guest tonight is my bestie, and we're just going to continue the conversation that we have been having earlier. So she's actually at the house today. So this is a little different. She's actually here. So, let's just continue the conversation that we were having earlier.
Sure.
And I don't know where we stopped. However, that don't really matter because we'll pick up anyway.
Because we subject hop.
Yes, that is one thing that we definitely do. But this is a question that I wanted to ask you, continuing from the conversation we were having the other night. And I want to know what your season of isolation looks like for you right now.
Girl, let me tell you. This season of isolation for me looks like summer paint a picture.
Okay.
It looks like God has moved everybody
Mm-hmm.
to stage left.
Uh-huh.
Put me in the middle,
Uh-huh.
spotlight on me with nothing. Just
Why do you feel like it's nothing though?
Because he wants me to figure it out.
And I agree.
Yeah. So I'm standing there trying to figure out if I'm supposed to juggle, sing, dance, or recite poetry. I don't
What do you feel like he's trying to get you to do?
love me.
Okay. And what seems to be difficult for you to do that?
Um, I want to say the way that I was raised.
Okay.
I don't feel as if I was raised in love.
Okay.
Now my daddy, that was my ace boom boom.
Mm-hmm.
I really do feel like he loved me, but my parents didn't have children biologically, so I don't feel like they got that extra, parental
Well,
feeling.
that makes sense in a way that okay, my mom, like whenever I tell people this, like when I talk to my kids, and we definitely are affectionate to one another.
Absolutely, and I love it.
But I didn't grow up in a household where there was love and affection.
Right.
So I made it a point to be loving and affectionate towards my kids. And now I tell people all the time when me and my kids are talking that I will tell them in a heartbeat, love has nothing to do with our relationship. And people get mad at me when I say that. And I'm like, I have to explain.
Right.
And the reason I say that is because my mother gave birth to me. However, she did not show love in the way that I wanted to experience it, but she showed me love in the way that she knew.
Right.
And it has taken me to her passing to really understand it completely. However, I can see where that would be hard to figure out how to receive it, when
And
you
just
didn't get it from the ones that raised you.
and just knowing, that I had my son at 16, trying not to bleed on him. And I haven't always been the perfect parent.
Oh no.
I
Parenting is a on the job
on the job
experience.
training. Absolutely. With no pay.
Yeah. I mean the
But
pay
I
is
mean
with
the
hugs and
yeah,
kisses
yeah,
and
and the love.
so
But
that's the general idea of that.
but the isolation for me just looks like this is my time to see who I am and be who God created me to be, away from what other people think of me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I did walk in the spirit of what other people thought of me mattered, but
Mm-hmm.
girl, it don't amount to two biscuits at this point because I love me. And something you said while we were talking,
Oh
they
Lord.
really resonated with me.
Ain't no telling what that was.
You said, I was born with me, I'm gonna die with me. It's almost like I had to hear that in another way to receive it. Because everybody that I care about, everybody that I love, they're not going with me.
No.
I mean, my time is my time and their time is their time.
Yeah.
But just being in a place of vulnerability, being able to call myself out on my BS because
Yeah.
and that's the hard part for me. That's
I can definitely say being able to call yourself out is hard
mhm,
because I have called myself out and be like, "Well, you know better." But I also have children who will
right,
call me out in a heartbeat and be like, "You know what? You need to do, mom. That ain't even right."
right.
Um, but I've had to learn that um, oh,
Angela, we can hear you.
it's okay. Oh, Lord, her and that dog always fussing at each other. But having to, I'm grateful for my kids in the sense that they keep me accountable too.
Mhm.
And when they know I'm off my game or whatever, they are quick to tell me. Especially Nathan.
Mhm.
You know, he gonna hold me to whatever it is because he feels like, especially now because he's the main child that's at home.
Right.
You know, the older two, they gone and they do their own little thing, but he has backup now, of course, with them. So it's always, well, I'm gonna call,
Reinforcement.
yeah, I'm gonna call your daughter, I'm gonna call your older son, and tell him how you, sir, we don't need to do all that, you know. But when you grow up in a sense of not feeling loved, not feeling wanted, it makes it hard, you know. And when you're in this season of isolation, when you are away from the distractions, the people who cater to your foolishness, so to speak, because
it's like everybody signed up for it but you.
Yeah, I'm not.
I know.
I'm not. You know, just like the other night when you know, I'm like, I know she finna get mad at me, and you know, I really don't
I wasn't
care.
though.
You
know
know,
what's funny? For the first time ever, first time
because I was
ever,
like,
that conversation did not hurt. Like,
okay,
it did not,
okay,
it didn't knock the wind out of me.
okay.
But
That's
at the
good.
same time, I'm like, doggone it, I'm gonna find me a husband. She gonna be happy one daggone day. But it's just.
And you know what? When you say that, I was like, she probably over there thinking I'm not looking at it for her to have companionship, and that is not the case.
No, I know.
You know, and so I'm like, I want the companion that is for her,
right,
and not the one that
I went and picked.
Yeah, that she
me out here
keeps
cherry
going,
picking.
Yeah, that she goes out and the first sign of, you know, this gonna be your brother-in-law. No, it ain't.
Yeah,
because you know I'm quick to say, no, you like him right now. Give him 2 weeks, he won't be there because he gonna do something because you
Everybody
overlooking everything.
tease me off.
What?
That's
yeah,
so,
because then they're not who you need. They are only there for temporary moments,
right?
And you sometimes you confuse those temporary moments with lifetime expectations,
right?
And that's
but you know
thing.
what that is? That comes from a place of me feeling like everybody that has ever loved me has left me.
Mm-hmm.
I used to, when I found my biological family,
Mm-hmm.
when my mom would introduce me to people, her face would go from so much pride and I got my baby, until somebody say something to me and they're like, you know, where you been at all this time and whatever. And the first thing that flew out my mouth is always, well, when she gave me away, I was adopted. And she was like, in her whole demeanor, just like,
because you're taking away the fact that you guys have found each other.
right.
And the past meant nothing at that point.
Right.
You only had to focus on what you had then and now.
Right.
You know, and I think sometimes we get lost in yesterday and we tend to stay there longer than we need to.
Yeah.
And we hold on because it's comfortable and it feels safe. But in order to grow, we got to be uncomfortable. And good things grow in dark spaces. But sometimes we don't want to get down dirty and be in those dark spaces. But we have to grow because a seed has to be buried in order to grow. And so in order for you to actually get through, you got to go through the pain. And it's going to be uncomfortable. And that's what this season of isolation looks like.
Listen.
So, you know,
isolation is not fun.
It is not for the weak. I will say
it
that.
is not for the weak.
No, it is not, because most people don't make it through that.
And speaking of isolation,
look at Didi talk about
preach evangelist. I seen
like,
it.
Listen, y'all, I keep trying to tell y'all, I can't say I'm not claiming that. I don't really know what that is. I'm not running from it. However, I just don't see it right now.
She gonna sit in it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna let God do what God does, and eventually, if that's what He's calling me, I will accept that title. But right now, I'm just speaking from experience, because that season of isolation for me, oh my God, it was, and it also was during COVID for me. And I knew I was in a season of isolation because I just ended a relationship. Him and I had just broke up, and I had just quit my job because the manager at that time was not understanding, and my job was protected through the Disabilities Act because of my Kiara. However, I'm not going to argue with someone who doesn't have control of their own home, so they take it out because they have the position in office to make someone else's life miserable because that's the only place they have control.
Right.
But you're not going to control me. Right. And so I will remove myself from the situation. So me removing myself, it was like, okay, God, I prayed for this job. I got this job. Now I got to leave this job. What is this about? Right. So I was asking all of these questions, and then I had already been sick. I didn't know it was COVID, but this was before they even knew that it was COVID. This is what they had said. It was an upper respiratory infection. So I was dealing with that. Face had swelled up because Kiara was doing whatever it wanted to do. And so all of this was happening. And I'm like, God, okay, what are you doing? You're taking this person away. You're taking my job away. Like, what am I supposed to be doing?
But not taking away these bills.
Right. And I'm like, I still have to make ends meet. There's not much income, but there still is income. Like, how am I going to do this? And I mean, we made it through, but it was just like, okay, people that I thought were going to be there were not there. Family was starting to turn and tell lies and all kinds of craziness. And I'm like, okay, all right, I'm in this house. I'm by myself. My kids are here, but they doing their own little thing. They not paying me no attention. They just like, Mom gonna figure it out, because I always do. But I'm like, they don't know that it ain't me figuring it out. It's God figuring it out. I'm just being obedient to what he's saying. But then I had the Mary Kay facial with the lady, and then she asked me to join her team, but we were having a conversation, and her director came in, and I was talking about life and talking about my experience, and she was like, we need you on our team. And I'm like, I don't have no money for this. Right. Like, this isn't, for me. And even still, I didn't want to be a part of that. But she paid the money, did all of that, got my first, products and everything. And I knew that I was in my season of isolation. I knew that. And it was like they were trying to force something. Right. And it was like, I'm in this season. I know what this season is for me. I'm not supposed to be out mingling and putting myself in spaces, but I'll do what it is that you're asking me. Right. And every time they were like, well, you're not applying yourself. I said, listen, let me tell you something. I said, I am doing everything to the T per your instructions. Right. I said, but the results are not the same because this is not for me. I said, so you're not hearing me. You feel like as if I'm not applying. I said, but I can't serve you and man at the same time. I said, I gotta serve God, but I can't serve man. I said, and you're getting upset with me because you want me to do as you're telling me. I said, but God is instructing me to do something else. And so I stopped,
It's funny that you say
trying to force it.
It's funny that you say that because I remember when you was trying to bring me on board. And I was like, all I wanted to do was be a guinea pig. I didn't want to do nothing else. I didn't want to. I didn't want to have to go to nobody's house
to say no.
Yeah, because I told him,
And so, and that
I'm
was
not
the thing.
peopling.
And that was the thing. And I'm like, yeah, I can do all of this. It's not a problem. So I stopped being active in their chats and stopped doing all of that. It wasn't until I completely removed myself.
Right.
And when I completely removed myself from one of the group chats, because they got several, and I find myself still being in some of them because they're still like, it was so many of them. And every once in a while I'll see one. But what was funny, I happened to be at work, and I had removed myself out of the group, and then I get a message, and she's like, I noticed that you're no longer in the group. I said, yeah. I said, I haven't been active in a while, so I felt it was necessary to just remove my presence altogether
Right.
because my presence wasn't felt, but my absence is.
Mhm.
You notice that I'm no longer there,
Right.
but while I was there, you didn't notice me. I said, so it's okay. And so she was like, well, Mary Kay is more than just lipstick and makeup, boo boo. Now, if you know me, I didn't take it there, but I was still polite. And I said, I do understand that Mary Kay is more than just lipstick and makeup. It is a vehicle that opens other doors for other opportunities. However, it is no longer the opportunity that serves me.
Right.
I said, however, that doesn't take anything away from who you are and what you've gained and what you have given to me.
Right.
Because you are good at what you do.
Right.
But it is not for me. So, go on and do what you do.
Go be great.
Yeah. So, however, she came back with more of an attitude with me. And I'm like, listen, I'm not about to argue with you. I said, I told you, this is taking nothing away from the crown that you have.
Mhm.
You are absolutely good at what you do. And maybe this space is necessary for someone else. It is not necessary for me. But I am not taking anything away from you. My absence is not going to be felt, but obviously it is felt. I said, so just take what you're giving to me and give it to someone who can utilize it better than me, because there's nothing that it's doing for me. I'm in the way. This is for someone else.
Right idea, wrong
just,
person.
yeah, I said, listen, you want me to be angry with you.
Mhm.
You want me to say something nasty to you. But I don't have anything like that for you because there's nothing that you've done that is a reflection of you not being good at what you do. It's just not for me. And I wish you all the best to continue doing what you do. This is my stop and I'm getting off. And I left it at that. And she was like, she said, well, you never let us know anything that you had going on. And this was a time that I was doing a virtual monologue and all this other kind of stuff. I said, all of these things are on my Facebook, everything that I've done. I said, so if you were really concerned and you really wanted to be supportive, you'd have showed up for those things.
Right.
I said, why would I have to announce these things and tell you when you say post everything that we're doing so that you can support? I said, these things have been posted quite a few times and neither one of y'all showed up for anything. I said, but I was not going to beg you to support me.
No, we don't
I
do
said,
that.
and so you're still upset at the fact that I'm giving you your props. And that's still not enough. I said, listen, baby, be blessed. Because I don't have nothing else for you. I'm
Take
not
that
mad
on
with you,
over that way.
but this is the end of the conversation.
Right.
We're not talking anymore. And I didn't respond anymore. But people will try to make you follow them in the direction that they're going. And they don't understand why it's not happening. But then at the same time, they'll tell you your results may vary. Yeah, the results are going to vary because that's not for me.
Right.
If it's not for me to do, my results aren't going to look like yours
Right.
because my season is isolation. God ain't taking me in this direction. And the direction that he has been taking me is the direction that I'm in right now.
Right.
And so with me being where I am, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Do I feel comfortable with it all the time? No. Because let me tell you, the event Saturday, when we were in Atlanta, me getting up there to speak, I still haven't watched the whole video.
I have.
And see, I have not. And, I came home and I told Nate that I had to speak. And he said, well, how'd you do? I said, Nate, I hope I didn't ramble.
You didn't.
I said, because I can get to rambling sometimes. And he said, yeah, you can. He said, well, how long did you speak? I said, from my understanding, about 10 minutes. He said, well, no, you didn't ramble in 10 minutes. He said, because if it had you talked a little longer, you probably would have got to rambling. He said, but if it was 10 minutes, no, you didn't ramble.
Tell Nate to hop off, my friend.
He not at all. And so I was like, okay, I think I did good. I said, but I haven't gone back and watched it yet.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, Mom, I'm gonna tell you, if you only talk for 10 minutes, ain't no rambling in there."
It wasn't any at all.
Said, "Cause if you talk longer than 15 minutes, yeah, you gonna ramble." And I mean, he said, "You always get to your point of what you're saying. You circle back."
Mm-hmm.
He said, "But you do get to rambling." I said, "Okay, well, nobody complained." I said, and nobody had any harshness to say. I said, but also
nobody looked bored.
No. And that's a subject that I can actually talk about. Look, she said, "Nephew funny, honey. Listen, if you meet this child in person, your face is gonna hurt.
3 of them are funny.
You can't listen. Let me tell you,
even down to the grandbabies.
Yes. Because my grandbaby the other day, I just showed Tanya the video. She told me to hush my mouth. Yeah, I wasn't even talking. I was not even talking. We was just laying in the bed. And she said, "TT, hush your mouth. Hush your mouth."
Hand over her mouth and everything.
And she just laughing like it was just hilarious. It's the most funniest thing in the world to her. But seasons of isolation, it is one of those things that, oh Lord, you're not built for it. But the weak ones don't make it out.
Right.
You definitely have to go through it.
I will say that in my moment of isolation, all I hear is Akon locked up.
Oh Lord, okay, I can see that. I can see that.
I mean, even down to the lyrics.
But this is the thing. Also, in your season of isolation, you have to learn to be in the company of
right.
yourself.
Set me free. Give us free. Break them.
But you are free. That's the thing. And you said something the other night in the text was that you don't feel like God is with you during this time. God.
And let me explain. Let me explain
go
why.
Ahead,
let me explain why. Girl, so
mm-hmm.
everything that could have gone wrong on Saturday, March 16, 2002, 3 p.m., everything that could have went wrong.
Okay.
Starting with my hair appointment.
Okay.
God was talking to me then. But I was like, I know you could stop this if you really actually wanted to, but this free will said meet me at the altar, jagged edge. And it started with my hair appointment being an hour and a half late, and then when she walked in, she was like, "I'm gonna have my breakfast." No, ma'am, you are not. You should have ate that in the car.
But see, this is the thing. We see those signs.
And we ignore them.
We ignore them.
But I ignore stuff. And that is something that I am still continuing to work on. I live in a world of they don't want you. If your mom and daddy didn't want you, nobody's going to want you. And so it gets to a place where I feel like I put up with any amount of disrespect or anything just to say that I have somebody.
Trust me, I know. That's what I be talking about when I be coming.
I get it.
And I'm gonna give it.
I get it late sometimes,
raw and uncut.
The ADHD,
and I know you be like, this heifer right here, just not trying to hear what I'm saying, but it's not that.
I know what it is. It comes from a place of love, and I know that. And I can say, because we've been joined at the hip since 12 years old. Other than Dee Dee and Shalon, you know me better than anybody. And
I'm gonna ask them hard questions. Yeah, they gonna be sensitive about it, and they.
But wait a minute.
Wait.
How about Dee Dee done start trying to come at me with the hard? I was like.
Because ain't nobody gonna be sugarcoating this foolishness.
Nothing. None of it.
There's no reason. Like I posted the other day, I would rather tell you the harsh truth than to give you calm you with a sweet lie.
And I wasn't even being funny when I commented. I was like, but you do. I mean, I wasn't even trying to be funny, because after we had our text message, the last thing you said to me, I just put a heart on it, because I was like, that was my period at the end of the sentence, because I get it. Like, I get what you're saying. But for me, it's just like I grew up in a space of feeling like I'm the most unloved person ever. And I didn't feel what genuine love felt like until I had my son.
Mm-hmm.
Like even now,
and that is where it comes from when you have your kids young. Because I had Kyle when I was 17.
I had Deontay at
And
16.
The promise that I made Kai was, I may not be the most perfect mom, but I'll always be there anytime you need me. And I'll do the best that I can with what I've been given. I'm gonna make mistakes, right. But it's just one of those things that you get to experience what unconditional love looks like, feels like when you have your children. And that is something that
just knowing that they know what your heartbeat sounds like from the inside.
Yeah. And that is beautiful, and it's undescribable until you've experienced it. Right. I will say that. But the one thing that I want you to understand is that when you start to appreciate you for who you are, for everything that you've gone through, you'll understand the creation that when God made you, He didn't make anything imperfect. You've been perfect from the beginning. It's just up to you to realize that and stop seeking the outside sources to give you what He's already given you. When He's given it to you, it's up to you to realize the greatest version of yourself is seeing yourself through His eyes.
We're not doing this long.
I'm just telling you that that's what it is. You have to see yourself through God's eyes. And when you take that strong, hard look in the mirror and say, I was perfectly made in your images, the day that I was conceived in my mother's womb, lets you know that there was nothing about you that was a mistake. Everything about you was perfectly made.
I think for me, it just goes without saying, like, my mom had my brother, and then she had me. I was born with a disability. Then I felt like, she might have been like, hell no, I ain't doing none of this. Take her. And then 4 years later, she had my sister and she kept her. So I just felt like I looked at my sister for a minute, like my replacement, like, and maybe her life was ordained to be here. She's meant to be here.
Yeah.
She's a beautiful person. She has her husband and her baby, and but that is the one and only time that I've ever felt jealous. I've never looked at anybody's life and said, "Oh, I want to do that."
Yeah, I ain't gonna do that.
Yeah, I mean, even with you, like when you was wanting me to go to school with you, I was like,
it wasn't even about me, and I'm gonna tell you why. It's because I wanted you to see what I saw, and that's the one thing that has always been. I see you, and I see the things that you want to do, but you hinder yourself. Remember when we did go to class that day, and we went to Dairy Queen afterwards.
Yeah. Why are you making them sound like you had to treat me to ice cream?
And no, it wasn't even that. We went there for lunch. We didn't just have ice cream. No. It was basically we went there because it was the closest.
But did you hear how you just said that?
Well, we went to Dairy Queen afterwards. What do you want me to say? That's what we went. I'm not saying it, for any other reason. I didn't just treat you to ice cream because, I probably should have treated you to ice cream because you made me mad that morning trying to act like you didn't want to go.
I didn't want to. I wasn't acting.
I don't care nothing about it.
I know. And I was putting on my shoes when you came back.
Because
you was like, we're not doing none of this.
Because you wasn't finna give me that excuse.
Yeah.
But you tried it, and I knew you were gonna try, but I wasn't having it. Yeah. Okay, listen, let me give y'all the backstory as to why, and then I'll go back to that.
Lord.
Nah, ain't no oh Lord. Here we go. Okay. I was at school, and we had a little thing where we could bring a family member or a friend to class with us. So with us, doing that, I asked her 2 weeks in advance for this day. And I told her that I would bring her on my long day so that she could get the experience of what college
I
looked
think
like.
that's what did it for me. The word long. Like I'm
And
gonna
it
be here.
really,
I'm gonna be here longer than the law should allow.
and it wasn't even that
It
long.
really wasn't.
It was just I had 3 classes that day.
And shout out to Miss
And-
Foster for actually giving me some work to actually do.
Yeah.
Because I'm like,
And
I'm
child,
supposed to be observing.
Anyway, what happened was the morning of, I get a text message while I'm getting dressed to get ready for class. It says, "Oh, my stomach bothering me. I ain't gonna be able to go." Y'all, I picked my phone up. I read the message. I looked at it, and I put my phone back down. I go in the bathroom. I brush my teeth. I wash my face. I come back to the phone. I said, I said, "No." I said, "What you not finna do is give me this excuse." I said, "I am in pain every day. I have left the school in an ambulance. I get up every day." I said, "And you coming." I said, "That little excuse you got, I don't want to hear." I said, "I'll be there in a few minutes. So go on, get your clothes on, get yourself together because you're gone." And
she left out a part.
What?
You left out. Every time I ask you to do something, you always got an excuse.
Because then, now, anyway, now when I get there to pick her up, here she come on out the house and everything. And you know what I said as soon as she opened it? I don't know who you thought you was talking to. But it's sure enough with me. Come on. We got somewhere to go.
Get in here because we got to go.
Because we got to go. Because I don't know what you think this is. Anyway, so we get to the school. She experienced that. And
enjoyed it.
And it was very good. So we go to the Dairy Queen afterwards. Now, not that I'm treating her to the ice cream, but it was probably something that was necessary. But as we were sitting there talking, I told her that she keeps herself isolated in a box. And it's time for her to break out of the box, whether she puts one toe out, one finger out, or something. You can't keep yourself confined to a box if you want to see what's on the outside. You can't keep peeping your head over, wanting to see what's out there. And then as soon as you get out there, you want to retreat back to the box. That is not how this goes. You either going to burst out of this box to see what else is out there, or you going to stay confined to the box. Now, I don't want you to stay confined to the box.
I had my big girl moment and I'm coming out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I moved to a whole nother state.
I know.
Drove myself to that state. And that was because I heard you say, even if you're scared, just do it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do it, because if you don't do it, you'll never do it, and you'll always wish you had done it.
Mm-hmm.
And my whole way from Spartanburg to Georgia, I kept hearing you say, "You got this. You gonna make it. God got you." And so, I'm sitting there driving beside 18-wheelers like, you stay over there and you stay over there and just let me do me and don't sandwich me in. But in all honesty, all of that comes from a place of being told no, being told I can't, so much so that I started to believe that I can't. And I know that I can do anything that I put my little ADHD to.
Yeah.
And
that's the one thing I keep trying to get you to understand. You put limits on you.
All right.
And you set the limit to saying, I can't do that.
Yeah.
And my thing is, like when we were talking at the event and I was telling you, and then even earlier, like I was told consistently as a kid, I was only going to be a drunk and druggie, just like my mama.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been able to do a whole bunch of things.
Mm-hmm.
I've accomplished a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't celebrate those things because of that.
Yeah.
Because it's always, okay, well, you can't do this, you can't do that. And then now that I've done it, I need to learn how to celebrate it.
Mm-hmm.
I just do it and be like, okay, I did it. Move on to the next thing that somebody, and nobody's saying that I can't do these things anymore. That's the thing. Nobody is saying that. It's just that mentality that I've had. And so now it's like, okay, I am healing that little girl. And so she's slowly starting to disappear because she's growing now.
Right.
And so it's like, okay, she's healing, so she's starting to disappear. And this is the thing about that, is that that little girl, until that little girl or that little boy inside is healed, you're going to always trigger yourself and trigger those.
Absolutely.
And other people are going to do things and say things that trigger you also, until that version of you has been healed.
Right.
That little boy, that little girl needs a hug and needs that from you. And so you have to be able to give that to yourself in order to know that part of you is no longer broken.
And I just want to say that I appreciate my whole tribe, because I in my isolation, I have a burn book that I write my thoughts in. I have another, like, I got like 3 or 4 different books that I write in daily about whatever's on my mind, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent. And it helps me to, if it's something bad, I can look back at it and say, okay, this is what we can't do. And it's like the whole observation thing. Just I can't do it the way you did it, because I'd be standing there like, girl.
Now, I will say, like, I haven't done that one in a long time. But I still do my monthly inventory with myself. I check in to see what my weaknesses are, my strengths are, if I've gotten better at this. The one thing that I've been working on here lately is my tone. And that's a hard one for me.
It ain't really your tone. I mean, just being on the end of always feeling like like the oldest child. I will say it's not your tone. It's more so your face.
Oh, well.
Like, even with your text messages, except for that last one. Except for that last one, I could always see your face. And I was like, this girl roll her eyes at me one more time. I'm driving over there. Because what's the problem? I'm like, let me be great. I'll let you be great. Let me be great. Well. But I get it. And I know where it comes from. Like, you're hard on me. Didi's soft on me, but she's getting hard. And I'm like, wait a minute, what you got going on that you feel like you can talk to me any kind of how? Because that ain't what we do over here. I was like, listen, and she'll tell you, Triveda number 2. Get it together.
Well,
and I know your ears be burning, because I just be
they do. Especially this right one.
Because I be giving you the business. I be like, she don't agree or adhere to anything I got going on. And I just don't understand it.
I do. It's just that if it doesn't resonate and it's not for the betterment of you, I'm going to say that. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to give it to you how you need to hear it.
Right.
And that's one of the things that, I'm learning. I'm going to tell you, this is a story. Like, my coworkers at my current job, it was always, don't talk to Triveda, she's mean. And I laugh at them now because they've all gotten to know me.
Right.
And I laugh, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure y'all all have had the same thing to say about me, is that I'm mean. I said, and that's only because you didn't know me.
Right.
I said, we all have a job to do, and our patients are first. That's our number one priority. I said, and once my job up here is done and you guys are in the back lallygagging, playing and goofing around, I'm going to have a problem with that, because I'm doing my job and I expect you to do yours. I said, so if I have to call you out on you not doing your job, yeah, you're not going to like me too much. And am I going to care about that? No, I'm not. And I'm going to tell you I don't care.
Right.
I said, simply because your job, you can talk, and if you don't know how to talk and chew gum and multitask at the same time, that's something that you got to work on.
It's definitely
so, but at the end of the day, they have all gotten to understand that we are not here to be friends. Our priorities is to take care of these patients. And we can be friends and we can be, well, I can't necessarily say we be friends, but we can, you know, be cordial
we can be
enough.
co-workers.
Yeah, we can be cordial enough to get along with each other to the capacity of getting the job done. But if you want to get mad at me because I'm telling you you're not doing your job, but I've already done mine and I'm still helping you to complete yours, then I'm not the problem. You are.
Yep.
And I'm going to tell you that you need to be on your game to do your job. And so now they come and they be like, I didn't like you at first. I know. I absolutely know you didn't like me.
Well, ma'am, sir, that sounds like a personal problem.
And I'm like, I didn't stop doing my job though, did I? No. Because you told me you didn't like me. I said, but other people told you not to like me. And you felt that that's what you needed to do, not like me, until you got to know me.
Bandwagon.
I said, so did that, nothing came in here, nothing stopped me from doing my job. I said, but slowly you all came around. I said, because one thing about me is I know the presence that I hold when I bring into a space. I said, so you will be uncomfortable going through this day without me being silly and being who I am. It makes it hard when I'm not here.
Right.
I said, so when I'm not here, y'all don't know what to do.
And it probably shows, like, when you go back to work, you probably got extra stuff to do because they ain't done what they supposed to do.
It's not even that. I'm not even there. And they call. So it's like I'm off, but my phone is still ringing. So that's how I know I'm good at what I do.
Ma'am, you're going to have to treat them like Red from Hot 5 Heartbeats. Your business hours.
Listen, and listen, when I leave, I'm putting my child in my place. Mm-hmm. So I know she's capable of doing it. And she's capable of handling all of those things.
And putting them in their place just
exactly,
like you.
Because they call her my mini-me, you know. But, you know, when you know the presence of who you are, you walk in that, you know. But one thing, like I said, I am working on for me is my tone. Because it's not, I know sometimes to the ears who are used to being coddled, their feelings, who they're used to that. I don't have that. You know, I don't know how to coddle your feelings. Like my kids now, of course, they're going to say I'm soft because of the grandkids.
That's that's different. And they won't understand that until they get grandkids.
But I tell them, I'm like, it's not even soft. It's the fact that these are kids and y'all are learning what parenting looks like.
Right.
I said, so I'm still parenting. Y'all just the adult version now. I said, and these are the baby versions. Like Kai is consistent in Moo just be doing too much. No, Moo just be doing
what she's supposed to do.
Yeah. I said she's doing what she's supposed to be doing. She's playing. She's doing this. She's an outdoorsy person. Kai is definitely not that. Micah was talking the other night.
I tell them, don't call me. Don't reach out to me before 12 noon because...
Well, see, I'm not like that because if you call me and you need me,
if it's an emergency, I got you. But if it's on some old regular...
See, it's the patients that need.
Yeah.
So I bypass personal to be helpful because ultimately it ain't about them that call me and it ain't about me either. It's about the patient because the patient is there. They need a service that we have to provide. And so if I'm unavailable to answer, the patient is still stuck.
Yeah.
So that's why.
I think mine comes from a place of my isolation because I'm like, I'm locked up. It's not visiting hours. What do you want?
You gotta also know when to answer those calls.
Yeah.
And when and how. It's the power of discernment. And not everybody has
and that. I do. And that's the crazy thing because oftentimes than not, I see the blaze before the flicker. And I know what it's about to turn into. And there's that small piece of me that sometimes like to play with it until I get burned. And then
Uh-huh.
when I get burned, it's like,
Can you nurse my wound?
right.
Absolutely not.
Right.
Absolutely not.
I mean,
Because
you
I
have
told
been
you.
pretty good the last couple times where you're like, you know what? I'm gonna let you have your moment.
Yeah, I
But
give you
after
your
your
little,
moment,
I give you a little 30 minutes. I give it to you.
Mhm.
I do. You know, I give you that. But outside of that, no. Because some of these things you just be doing, and I just be like, why? Why? You just want to be hard headed. You just want to be hard headed. You don't want to be in your season of isolation. And sometimes a season of isolation it's lonely, and it can last
lonely is an
a long time.
understatement.
But this is a time that you get to know you. You get to know you on a more intimate level. That's just like when Haleen happened. We ain't had no power over here. Child, I was in this house having a field day, the best time of my life. My kids left me. It was peace and it was quiet. Me and God in here having conversations. You know, I'm like, God, you know, they don't went on about their business. They thinking this is just torture over here. I'm fine. I got my little fan over the bed. I'm fine. I don't got my food. I'm in here eating. I could go to the car and watch a movie till I get ready to go in the house. You know, I'm good. My sister was mad at me. Listen, your season of isolation is however long God decides that's your season of isolation. Y'all need to quit trying to rush God in his business. Okay? Cause y'all keep trying to tell God what time he needs to be on. You ain't on his time. Y'all on his. Y'all just mind your business, okay? Mind your business. Stop. Just mind your business. And stop trying to tell God what to do. You know.
Because he gonna do
what he want to do anyway.
Because he is God and God all by himself.
He don't need no help from us. He just need us to be obedient to what he called us to do. Now I tell y'all that all the time. Stay out of God's business. Now I ain't gonna tell you no more. Stay out of God's business. Okay, listen, y'all. Okay.
That just sounds like a whole little.
Yeah, pop your hand. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't touch it.
Mind your business. But look, this conversation could go on forever. I gotta go get my child from work. Because
I just gotta leave
because it's dark. She don't do too well in the nighttime.
I don't have eyes like a bat. I can't see.
Well, I ain't gonna comment on that. But anyway, y'all listen. This has been great, and I don't know how to tell you untruths. I can only give you what I know, and I speak from experience. And if I've been through it, I'm gonna share it with you. I'm just as transparent as they can be. And God has brought me through some situations. He has taken me through some things. And one thing I can say, and as I look back over just the last 4 months, things that did not look like what I had anticipated or what I had expected, God was like, I was already showing you all of this stuff. You just being hard headed. Because I have been stuck in survival mode. And y'all, I will run when it don't feel good to me. I will definitely do that. In this situation with this new relationship, I will tell you, it has been a struggle in the sense of my fight or flight. And
hey girl, if you don't get somewhere and sit down and let that man love you.
And look, and I told you,
he's a good man, Savannah.
And he definitely is, and I'm grateful for him. And I am learning, what my triggers are when it comes to conversations. And we were just having a conversation about this the other night because we were having a disagreement about something, and I don't even remember what it was, but I put my phone on do not disturb. And he brought that to my attention. He got on
punishment.
Yeah, he brought that to my attention, and yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I do, and so we were having that conversation, and he was like, "Yeah, you don't argue with me. You just put your phone on do not disturb." And yeah, you're right, because I'm not about to go back and forth with you.
But wait a minute, you don't do that to me. You be come out guns a blazing.
Because, and see, I was like that with him too.
Oh, okay.
I've just gotten to this space, like this is a new territory for me.
Okay,
and so for me to keep from actually exploding before, like, because that's what I would do before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do that now. I take time to get myself together before, because I'm gonna say some things and I don't want to do that. And he don't pay me no attention, no way. But it's just better for me because I told him, because he thinks if we gonna have an argument, we need to settle it right then and there. No. I need you to hear me, sir. I need you to hear what I'm saying.
But I can see also what he's saying because the word says not to go to bed angry.
Yeah. And see, I
somewhere in
don't
there.
be going to bed. I go talk to God about it. And see, when I go talk to God about it, he gives me what I need. And he tell me when I'm wrong too. He absolutely tell me, now you need to do better.
Mhm.
And that's one thing I can say to my mama not here. Because my mama would tell me in a heartbeat, you need to apologize to him. Ma, I don't want to. Because she used to tell me all the time.
Was.
Oh,
She
yeah.
told me she don't see how
Yeah.
we lasted as long as we
my mama
did.
told me she couldn't be my friend.
Mhm.
Yeah,
She told me that too. She said, ain't no way I'd be her friend.
Yeah, she told me that. She said, I couldn't be your friend because you ain't going to be talking to me like that. But she would tell me, like, when Brad and I was together and I would do something, she like, you need to go and apologize. I don't want to. Go apologize, Triveda. Mama, I'm not. You wrong. Okay, well, I'm going to be wrong till tomorrow because I'm not doing it today. And so now it's like, I'm getting better. It's a test, but I go and I go talk to God, and he get me together. He definitely gets me together. So it's a learning experience. But you guys, I thank you for tuning in. I gotta go get my child.
Check me out tomorrow night, same time, same great station. Delayed but not denied. Don't know what we're talking about, but it's gonna be good.
It always is,
But thank you for having me. Thank you for
course.
opening up your home to let me come in and,
child,
and just be at
house
home.
This is what we do. I ain't cooked this Sunday, so you couldn't.
Girl,
I know you was waiting for something, but now, baby,
when I tell you I burnt the road up, that how you think I missed your house?
See, listen. I know. See, I didn't cook today, and I actually rested this weekend. I actually did do that, and that's not normal for me
at all.
But anyway, y'all, thank y'all for tuning in, and you know what I'm always gonna tell you, and that is stay out of God's business. The only thing that He needs you to do is be obedient to what He's called you to do. And until next time, I'll see you then. Good night.